What is going on, everybody? Nick Gaschler back at it again here with another 2022 NFL Draft film session. This time it may be a little bit longer of a film session because I'm going to go a little bit more in depth on a player that I really like in this draft class, and that is Ikem Ekwonu, the offensive lineman from NC State. And a lot of people view him as a top 5 talent, as do I. A lot of people also view him as a top 5 talent at tackle. And I'm a little different because I view him as a top 5 talent at guard. I think he's going to be an incredibly much better guard on the next level than he would be a tackle. And through tape from last year, this is from Pitt from 2020, and then we're going to watch the Clemson game. I'm going to try and demonstrate that and show you why I feel like Ikem Ekwonu could be a better guard than tackle, and ultimately it comes down to lack of good foot speed, and he's so much better at playing football in a phone booth than playing football on the outside where a tackle would. So it's going to be a little bit longer of a film session, bear with me, and if you watch the whole way through, I really appreciate that. So let's get right into it here with this first play. Just a really good showing of what Ikem Ekwonu does best. We're going to see him from the guard position here, hit this 24 linebacker, and just put him right into the pile and pancake him. Starting off, play like that is amazing. I like where he comes off. 92 is going to engage with the center here, try and get to this other A-gap. So Ikem Ekwonu pretty much has this A-gap and then B-gap here. This 24 linebacker is trying to get through A-gap. What Ikem Ekwonu does a good job first is getting his eyes up, looking around, and then being able to attach to this linebacker and then just push him into the pile and pancake him. That's a great finish, and that's really what Icky's MO is, being able to just finish with violence and whatnot. That's a good play to open things up. And again, we talk about him as a finisher and being able to play football inside of a phone booth here. This is a pass protection rep, but Ikem Ekwonu is going to do a great job of being able to one-on-one with 92 and use leverage and anchor here, right? We see 92 be able to get his hands inside Icky's chest, but Icky's going to fight back, and he's going to lose some leverage here, but he sinks and grabs his anchor, and as soon as 92 attempts that inside swim move, Icky's going to take advantage of that and put him on the ground. And another just amazing finish from Icky, and a good job of being able to really sit down as 92 tries a bull rush that doesn't end up working there. Just a good job being able to just sink down and then use his strength to eventually overpower him at the end of this rep. Another thing that kind of goes to my point of why I think he's a better guard than he is a tackle here, rather than having to deal with this edge rusher on the edge as a tackle, you're going to be able to just go one-on-one with a guy and not have to worry about giving up the edge or giving up space. And this tackle takes number 17 upfield here, which gives a lot of space for the 92 to potentially go outside. But the point is that Ekwonu is not going to have to deal with all that space and trying to get around the edge like that. The best path to the quarterback for 92 outside of this way is going to be that way. And Ikem can just move his feet and mirror, and that's exactly what he does there. Just a good job of being able to work in a small space, confined, and I think that's what a big strength to Ekwonu's game is right here. But still, besides the amazing finish right there, great job. Right, and sometimes, a lot of times, and you'll see it in the Clemson tape, Ekwonu plays super far forward on his feet, and that's not going to go well in terms of balance. He loses his balance right here and comes off this block, allowing this 3-tech to make the play, right? 3-tech is just going to shed inside. So it's not a good thing. I just want to show it to show that he kind of has an issue with it. For the most part, he's pretty consistent. Like, you don't see that often, but there are times where just his physicality and ability to violently get off the ball kind of hurts him right there. And he gives up the inside, right? Ideally, you don't want to see him give up the inside, especially as a guard when the center has to go normally against this 1-tech. But it really just doesn't really make a big difference. If this play is over here and he's the tackle and this guy's playing 4-eye, or just playing 5 and then comes inside, there's really no difference. I'm just showing it to show you that sometimes he has an issue with that, and we'll see it more when we get into the tape from this year. And he doesn't do it much, but again, just a precautionary tale here of balance. Again, we're going to be able to see Ikem Ekwonu play football inside of a phone booth in this play. He's going to go against this 1-tech. To the weak side of the offensive formation. What I love is that watch Ikem's feet. He's going to move this way and then eventually force this guy to go outside with him. Whereas if he's playing tackle, he's gonna in this type of play, in this type of scheme, he'd likely have to come up through B gap and then get up to here or block out on this 5 tech. What do I like here is his ability to just meet him right here and then take him where he wants to go, right? He's going to push him across his face, and then he's going to continue to drive and get upfield right here. This is where he's best, where he has a guy he's engaged with and he's driving upfield. You don't see him do that a ton with the tackle, just because, right, let's watch this tackle here. He's going to have to force him outside rather than up. I think Ikem Ekwonu is more suited as a vertical offensive lineman, which means he pushes people up rather than pushing people out the way this tackle is to try and open up this hole. And that's why I really like him more at guard. Again, it's that theme of being able to play football inside of a phone booth and be physical and violent. That's what best suits him. And his foot speed here is totally fine for a guard's pace. If he had to do that on the outside, I worry. But overall, and we'll get into that more as we get into the Clemson game, obviously. But for right now, that's again vertical push, and he takes him where he wants to go eventually. But the fact of the matter is, these defensive linemen is at least 4-ish, 5-ish yards upfield before he starts to go sideways. That's really where you want. That's the ideal place you want to go, because then it opens up this hole for him if this backside safety doesn't get in there so quick and make a tackle, or safety. Just a good job of being able to push vertically and get upfield there from Ekwonu. Now here again, we have another really good play where Ekwonu just takes the defensive lineman right out of the play, and that's what he does best, right? Number 91 here, I believe that's Patrick Jones from last year, because this is 2020, is going to blitz through the B gap right here. Ekwonu is going B gap, and he's ready for him, and he hits him hard, and he's able to get him out of the play right here. Decent inside hand usage. I haven't touched on that yet, but I just want to make that known that his hand usage is not a problem. He's inside for the most part, and his punches are bad. Check that out. Watch how Jones just gets squared up by number 79, Ekwonu here. Just a good punch and then a good drive to get him out of the play right there and open up that hole in the run game. It's an undervalued area of a position of being a guard who can really open up holes in the run game, and this is a great example of that, of him just being able to lock down B gap and open it up for this running back, since the center's messing up A gap right here. But again, I just love the effort. I love the physicality coming from Ekwonu here. And then again, you see his feet; they aren't moving too fast, which again we'll touch on later on in the film session here. But just a good play. It really showcases how good he can be at guard, of being able to open this hole in the run game for number 7. And ultimately, this run ends up going not very far because the center isn't able to get to the linebacker. But let's talk about a double teams for a second. Normally, you see centers and guards do a lot more double teams than you do see tackles and guards, and that's just because on the backside here, for example, there's not a 3 tech here, and you usually, if there is a 3 tech, you usually have a 5 tech. Let's just take this tight end out of the equation for a second. This guy would be playing down right here, where if it was a front side play and the running back was over here and they were running that way, you'd have a tackle or the guard try and come here, and then the tackle would have to kick out there. And maybe this center would be able to come help out with that. But for the most part, you don't see a lot of tackle and guard double teams right now. And here you see a guard and center double team, and that really showcases what Ekwonu can do here. He's going to be able to grab him on and then have number 50, or the center, try and push him right onto Ekwonu and being able to keep moving up. 50 should have grabbed this linebacker who came screaming through A-gap, but that's a different story. But for the most part, this is a really good double team. They're able to lock hips and then keep pushing upfield. I know the run doesn't go anywhere, but that's a really good block that would open up this hole right here if 50 could get on that linebacker, because Ekwonu had enough strength, and 50 did a good enough job of being able to push this 1 tech over onto Ekwonu right there. That if he picked up the linebacker, they'd have a big gash right there. Just a really good job of showing what Ekwonu can do with help and with teamwork, and being able to drive those holes and force those holes open. This play is a pass protection rep against this 1 tech here, and what I like about it is that Ekwonu is able to work within his confined space and not have to, again, try and set the edge and try and keep the edge secure. And we'll see I have a good example of that coming up with the Clemson game here. But for the most part, 92 is going to try and brush to the A-gap. Ekwonu doesn't have to really worry about him crossing his face. and have to hustle out to the B gap. So he sets inside to the A gap here and is able to get hands on first, extend with length here, right? He has good length. You can see, by the way, he pushes himself back when he extends into 92 and delivers a hit, and then he's able to stay engaged and then mirror from there, right? I really like Ekwonu's ability to mirror. When he gets his hands on somebody, he's going to be able to do that and do it at a consistent basis. Here's a good example of him being able to do that within the guard position. He does get pushed back a little bit, but it doesn't really affect the pass. And he's able to just stay in front of 92, right? His feet are a little slow on the outside, and he has trouble staying in front of faster edge rushers, and we saw that with Myles Murphy we will be seeing that with Myles Murphy in the Clemson game. So I feel like he'd be better suited on the inside for now until he can develop quicker foot speed and ability there as an in kick step. But that's a good play, good rep from guard to show that he has potential in pass protection. All right, so now we move on to this season, 2021, and here's the Clemson game. And Ikem Ekwonu was asked to play tackle this season, and he did a good job. And I don't get me wrong, I think he can be a very good tackle on the next level. I just prefer him as a guard, and here's going to be a couple plays why. My big reason, as I mentioned earlier, is that he's better suited playing football inside of a phone booth, and we proved, and I felt like the plays against Pitt really proved that. And here he has to play football in a little bit more of a space, and has to be a little bit smarter about using his feet. And then his kick step is also, traditionally with the kick step, you want that back foot up, and you want to be able to set not only laterally but also vertically, so you can get as much distance this way and this way from the quarterback as possible against the edge rusher. Myles Murphy, number 98, is the Clemson edge rusher he goes against most of this game. Speedy guy, and he's going to be able to set the edge on him quick. And this play, for example, Ekwonu gets a little scared, oversets big time, and leaves the big B gap open where Myles Murphy is just able to switch inside. And he does this pretty consistently throughout the tape, and Murphy is just able to switch inside and take that inside gap, which just kind of shows me that Ekwonu, while he has to set outside, and he does a good job of setting laterally outside, if he does that too often, he's going to open up the B gap a lot to interior rush from that 5-tech, being able to switch inside and put pressure on the quarterback, which is why I feel like he'd be better suited being able to play in a phone booth with both sides covered just by a quick little shuffle. Again, you don't see a great kick step here. The back leg doesn't come up as high as I'd want it. It's more of a shuffle than it is a kick step, and then again, he gives up that inside. So that's just the first play, kind of showing why I feel like Ikem Ekwonu would be better suited at guard rather than tackle. And this play right here, we didn't really see a good example of this in that Pitt game, but this kind of just goes right back to Ekwonu's guard background. He's going to set outside and has nobody to block here, so he's going to keep his head on a swivel and stay aware, and he helps his guard on the inside out and actually knocks over number 47 here who's trying to shoot this gap. Let's check it out. So he's going to be able to set. Murphy stunts inside, 47 stunts outside to B gap. Just a pretty standard blitz package split stunt right there. Ekwonu does a good job of noticing that 98 is going to be going inside, turns his head, right? We're going to watch his head go from the outside inside, right? Let's check it out. He goes outside, and then he sees he's going inside and turns his entire head right there to notice the 47 is going to be coming through B gap like a missile, and then he comes in, puts him down, right? Good punch, and puts him down, stifling that blitz there. Again, we just see the awareness from Ekwonu being able to do a good job of recognizing that pass pro, that blitz stunt, and keeping his quarterback clean on that left side. Here we're going to see another example of Ekwonu giving up the inside a little too easily, but there's good awareness here, right? Let's check it out. He's going to set so far outside, and luckily his guard was there to stop it, but he sets so far outside in anticipation that Murphy's coming outside that Murphy's just going to be able to move inside, and 13 gets sacked. But either way, good awareness of being able to turn his head and try and push and wash him out. I like that technique right there. But again, he's oversetting this so hard that the mistake is him oversetting it and letting Myles Murphy inside here. Ideally, you'd want to see him set a little slower and a little more vertical instead of having to bust his ass to get outside only to get beaten to the inside. Rather, kind of stay patient and read what Murphy's doing, and if he's going so far upfield, then set a little bit more vertically to meet him right here, rather than to meet him right here and give up this big open space here. Again, just a little disparity in his kick step, and we'll watch it here. Again, doesn't get his feet too far off the ground. It's more of a shuffle than it is a kick step, and then the disadvantage to that is all of his weight is more distributed to the left right here, right? And then he has to move right back inside to the right. And for the most part, it's good balance. I'm not knocking his balance at all. I'm just saying because of his shuffle, it takes him longer to be able to reset and go inside and post rather than kick. So again, just another example of Murphy, and Murphy doesn't even fake outside go inside, or like sell outside go inside. He kind of just flies inside, and Ekwonu is so concerned about him beating him to the outside, which shows that he knows that Murphy's faster than him and he's going to be able to set the edge faster than him, that he's so concerned about he has to bust his ass to get out there, and then eventually he gets beat inside. So that's 2 plays now that we've seen that, and again, just probably my best proof thus far of why I feel like Ekwonu still has a little bit of development to do over at left tackle, and I feel like he'd be more suited to play guard for the first couple of years on the next level. And in this instance is another inside rush from Murphy. I think Ekwonu does a really good job of being able to set outside and meet him at a good point of attack. He just is too slow and doesn't move inside quick enough, right? Let's watch it. He's going to do a really good job of setting outside as we see here, but Murphy just moves inside. Ekwonu's not quick enough to shift his weight, right? Because his weight's more centered this way. He takes a longer time to get that right foot down and shift his weight inside, and he's eventually going to get beaten on that bull rush from 98 Miles Murphy. And how he doesn't finish this sack, I don't really know, but still he's putting pressure on the quarterback, and it turns into a sack. Just again, I feel like if he was a guard, that wouldn't really happen, because in this case scenario, if that guy's going A gap, let's just say for hypothetical sake, that guy shifts out to B gap. 64 is able to set in front of him and stay in front of his face, and not let a speed guy like that cross his face the way it did happen to Ekwonu right there. So another, just probably, I think this is my last example of him getting beat inside, but that's my primary. This is a great showing of my primary reasons why I feel like he's better off at guard. Here again, we're going to see foot speed, and I'm going to show you the difference of why I feel like he'd be. I mean, the foot speed is not going to change, right? From guard to tackle, the foot speed is not going to change at all. I just want to establish that. I know that. You don't have to get on me in the comments about it. I know his foot speed is not going to change. The difference is, first let me describe the play. Icky's going inside on a zone block and trying to cut this 3-tech off. And you frequently see tackles do this. Penei Sewell did this a lot last year, where he'd move inside through B gap and then cut off this way, and his guard would go up to backer. Right here, Ekwonu's trying to do that, but I don't feel his feet are quick enough for this 3-tech, and he gets beaten to the inside, and ultimately is going to have to cut this 3-tech to be able to create the block. So that's him at tackle. Whereas if he was a guard, this guard, I think, moves up to the second level, and if it's a scheme that he moves up to the second level and is able to wall that 3-tech off from right here, right? But his primary motion is trying to move up to the second level. If 10 comes up this way, he's going to be there to block him, whereas this 54 right here, again, a guard, comes up this way, he's going to be able to block him. Generally, how any zone, hard, heavy zone to one side goes. Let's watch Ekwonu. He's just not quick enough, and he's going to try and cut him, because normally you'd want Ekwonu to cross his face, and he doesn't ever end up getting there. Just showing off, like, although he is a violent, great finisher, good, strong run blocker, he does have disparities with his foot speed and athleticism that I think hold him off from being a high-level tackle, especially in this sort of play against a 3-tech. And don't get me wrong, this is a hard block for any tackle to make, but normally the more athletic ones that are suited to play tackle are able to control their feet and make this block. And we're going to see Ekwonu come out this way and block for a screen, but his feet are just kind of all over the place here, and he ends up missing the block and allowing the tackle just because he wasn't able to right here refine his feet, set them, and then deliver a blow. He kind of just runs at him like a rhinoceros and misses him because the safety, this number 31, is able to move inside and find the running back. Again, he's kind of given a hard task because he has to move inside and then get out. And he does a good job of moving outside and moving in the open space, but when it comes to being able to block, I'd like him to slow down his feet a little bit more and be able to engage with good hand usage to at least lay a blow and put him out on the 40 rather than moving it with bad, hitting him on the wrong side. You really want him to hit this shoulder. Instead, he hits the other shoulder, which pushes him upfield to get number 86 here. Another showing of how Ekwonu's movement may not be the best on the next level, and how I feel like if he's playing guard, that wouldn't happen as easily because he would be going inside for a Sam linebacker or something like that. So just something to think about. Another little piece where I think, while he's a decent tackle, he's not a great tackle. And it seems when I want Ekwonu to set vertically, he sets laterally, and when I want him to set laterally, he sets vertically or not laterally enough. And this is a good example of that. He's going to be one-on-one with 35 on the edge, and 35 is just able to beat him to the corner and turn the corner because Ekwonu is not quick enough to get in front of 35 and lock him down and try and get hands on him before he can mirror him. Instead, 35 is going to use his speed and kind of bend here to be able to beat Ekwonu around the corner and put pressure on the quarterback. I'd like Ekwonu to set more laterally here to get in front of him, and then be able to also stay balanced in case he gives up the inside like he has in past play, where I want him to bust his chops to the outside rather than give up the inside. And he doesn't do that here, which is just kind of shows that inconsistency. He wouldn't really have to. This is such a guard set because it's such a flat set. He doesn't really go vertical at all. So he's still learning here. And he does a good job of not totally getting beat by this guy, but I'd like him to do better as a whole. And I have to finish on a good note because I do love Ikem Ekwonu. And if it sounds like I'm bashing on him, I'm not. I'm just trying to show you why he's better as a guard. And this tackle tape is not the cleanest tape in the world, and that's why I kind of wanted to highlight it and show it. But we saw with that pit tape that he is so good at the point of attack, and this is another great play that shows it, where he's going to go inside and punch that defensive tackle, that 3-tech, further into the line, right, and open up this hole. And not only does he do that, but he then is going to move up to this linebacker and be able to push this linebacker out of the play. Just goes to show his violence and aggression. He hates people. He hates the people across from him. The people that have different color helmets and different color jerseys, he doesn't like, and he's going to do everything to show you that he doesn't like them and clear a path. And ultimately, that's what I love to see in my linemen. I think as a whole, he'd be better suited inside because that is what he does every single rep, rather than having to pass set on the outside. Pass setting on the inside would be fine. Run blocking on the inside, he's able to play football in a phone booth and just gash people. That's what I think he does best, and that's why I want him to play inside. So if you've made it this far, thank you for watching. I really appreciate that, first and foremost. Secondly, if it seems like I'm trying to bash on Ikem Ekwonu, I am not. I love Ikem Ekwonu. He's my number 5 player on my board, and he's one of the most physically dominant players I've ever evaluated, and I love that. As somebody who loves physical football, he is your guy, and he's super physical in every aspect of the game. I just think when you look at him at tackle, he's going to be a good tackle, and he's going to be a top 10 player at tackle. But when you look at him at guard, and if you start him at guard on day one, I legitimately believe that he could be a top 10 to 15 guard on the NFL just because of what he does well, and how that skill set translates to guard on the NFL. I'm not saying that he cannot ever play tackle. I think in a couple years, if he can figure out how to fix that foot speed and learn more technique, he could end up being a great tackle as well. I just think he's much better at guard, and I think that's because of the foot speed is better when is masked when he's a guard. A lot of issues get masked when you move to guard, and we saw that with Penei Sewell. A lot of us wanted Penei Sewell to go play guard last year because he was able to. You could mask a lot of his technical deficiencies, especially in the footwork of Ikem Ekwonu. I think you can mask a lot of those technical deficiencies right now and continue to develop them. And then if you have let's just say you're the Giants and you have Nate Solder or Matt Peart, and you need to replace a veteran tackle but you're not ready to do it yet. I don't know, because the Giants kind of are, but either way, let's just say they want to keep Matt Beard for another year, fine. Nate Solder for another year, fine. You can put Ekwonu at guard next to Andrew Thomas, let him develop at practice, and let him get game experience in game, and then move him to tackle the next year, and he's gonna be I think a much better player. So that's my case for Ikem Ekwonu. I think he's a very good player, and I think he could succeed at either position. I just feel that he's a guard that can play tackle rather than a tackle that can play guard, if you get what I'm saying. So let me know your thoughts, and if you watched this entire video, thank you so much. Comment Ikem if you've watched through the whole video. I would really appreciate to see and know who the real supporters are, if you know what I mean. But anywho, thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. It's a little bit longer, but for good reason. I think there was a lot more content that I had to cover here. So thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you guys on the next one. Peace out.